Hi. This time I wanted to talk about how not to get overwhelmed by those huge campaign settings or campaign worlds. Maybe you have designed your own world. You have designed the politics, the factions, the trade routes, the adventure sites, everything. Or maybe you have purchased those campaign books, or maybe you obtained one of those modules, perhaps a sandbox module that has a campaign setting pretty much attached to it. But either as a game master or as a player, you feel just overwhelmed because of all of the options, all of the possibilities. So with this video, I want to provide some tips on how to handle that overwhelming sense of, wow, this world is so big, perhaps too big for my characters. Okay, on the side of the game master, don't try to present everything about the game world at the same time. Nobody likes an info dump because you're there to play a tabletop role-playing game, not to experience a history lesson. There could be history lessons about the fictional world throughout the adventure, but it shouldn't be like tossed into the players just like that. You're going to have some bits and pieces about the game world with the introduction to the adventure, the start of the campaign or the start of the session, but later on, as the players talk to different non-player characters, they read different documents, they perhaps witness some events, then they will start to feel as part of the campaign world. As a game master, it's also quite difficult to know how much of the world you are going to present in a single session. Think about the places and the people that the players are going to be interacting with, and only take into account or consideration those bits and pieces of the lore, the history, the political situation related to those specific non-player characters, those specific places. If it is unlikely that the players are going to go to some place really far away, because yes, it's a, let's say, a medieval fantasy setting, and a horse simply cannot make the journey that fast to that other corner of the continent, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that section. Even if the players make some really long trips or journeys, they suddenly decide to go in that direction for whatever reason, it is unlikely that they will get too far. So try to establish like a perimeter of the sites of interest or importance that the players could be interacting with, the non-player characters within those sites as well. So it's all about trying to gauge the area of influence that the players are going to be moving through. It's not always that easy, but it's certainly doable. Like I said, it's all about what you think the player characters are going to, the sorts of events that they are going to experience throughout that particular session. On the part of the player characters, if you are a player and you want to explore this world, set up some objectives. I talked a bit about this in my recent appearance in Rick's channel. I'm going to put the video in the description, but it's basically about setting your objectives. Are you trying to rescue someone? Are you like a mercenary character and you are looking for work? Perhaps you are looking for treasure. Focus on that objective. Go towards that goal or objective. Everything that you do should be a way or means to reach that objective. And throughout that journey, many other things are going to happen. If the game master is skillful enough, you're going to be interacting with other non-player characters. You will come upon different adventure sites or points of interest because it is a living, breathing world. Even if it's a fictional world, the people in that setting are going to be moving about. They have their own objectives, their agendas, and eventually their objectives will cross with you, with your own objectives. Maybe you can form alliances. Maybe you are enemies. And not necessarily like lethal enemies or like a nemesis sort of situation. Maybe you are rivals. You are an adventurer that is looking for a particular legendary treasure. And this other adventurer is looking for that treasure as well. Now it's a race. You encounter each other and you're like, I'm looking for that treasure. I'm also looking for that treasure. Or maybe you want to keep that information for yourself. But now if you become aware that the other party is looking for that treasure, it's a race to see who gets to it first. Perhaps there is a dramatic confrontation when both parties reach the treasure at the same time, who knows? When it comes to science fiction or science fantasy settings, this can be a bit more complex because you have planets or dimensions or planes of existence or whatever. I think it is vital to know the access that the player characters are going to have to certain vehicles or means of transportation. If they have no way of attaining a spaceship or something or opening a portal, maybe it's too expensive to acquire one or purchase the services of such a vehicle or means of transportation. Then don't worry, sorry, don't worry too much about their journeys to other places, other planets, other dimensions. It will take a while for them to achieve that. But you still want to promote that freedom. Maybe they find some other way of attaining a vehicle, opening a portal. So then, in the worst of cases, you will have to make some quick improvisations. So that's why I think preparing is worth doing before the session. In that case, definitely think about 2 or 3 planets or places or planes or dimensions that the players could visit. Let them visit those places and immediately present some missions, some objectives, some quests. Maybe they arrive to this place and they see this non-player character attacking this other non-player character. Are they going to be involved with that? Do you want them to be involved with that situation because maybe one of the attacking non-player characters looks at the newly arrived player characters and decides that he is going to attack them as well? So that's how you get the ball rolling, the adventure started. So these are just a few tips. You could think of complex campaign settings or worlds as pieces of a puzzle. Think about the pieces of that puzzle that the player characters are going to be exploring or looking into. And so you can further build story threads or adventure hooks centered around each of those separate puzzle pieces. Still, I would love to know your own thoughts on this. Maybe some other players or game masters have some tips on how to run a campaign setting or complex world, or on the side of the player characters, how do you take on the different worlds that your game masters present to you? Thank you for watching this video, and thank you for your likes and your comments. If you have any other questions or comments related to anything, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support this channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. Once again, thank you, and see you later.